Is this thing on? I swear I haven't touched the camera in so long. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am filming this from Illinois, my home state, and it is freezing out here. And for those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Alexander Nava. I spent all of 2023 full-time as a content creator, working with some of the biggest creators here on YouTube, and I am so blessed to have done that. I also made a giant career change last year, which I have not made public yet, but stay tuned. And I'm just making this video because it's 2024, it's a brand new year, and I wanted to go over all the things that I learned being surrounded by some of the top creators in the industry. I'm going to give you guys the top 6 insights that I learned being surrounded by some of the most creative and most successful people here on the platform. And I'm even going to throw in some personal examples that I have from these that have really impacted myself, and hopefully you guys can relate. Now, I don't like wasting much time, so let's get into it. My first takeaway from being a full-time content creator in 2023 is that everything can change in an instant. And what I mean by that is you could be any age, anywhere in the world. Once you start putting out good content and build a community around people who connect to it, everything can change. Last year when I stopped working with Graham Stephan, I had a meltdown. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what would be next, and I was so nervous. But I got so many emails from you guys saying you wanted consulting. So I put consulting up, and for a few months I had literally a full-time job consulting. However, after that, I got approached by one of the largest content creators on the platform, and I've been working with them since. Video coming soon. But you don't need a huge following to understand that everything can change in an instant. I've seen people literally working 9-to-5 jobs or minimum wage jobs, and what they do is they start posting content that they love, they connect with the community, and literally within a few weeks to even a few months, their entire life has changed. And this is something that I think people think is impossible and it's far out, but it's not. And that brings me to point number 2. Everybody that I'm around has the same attitude of, you can do it. Basically, a lot of people have really good ideas, but the big difference is that they don't really act on the great idea. And I noticed this a lot growing up. For some reason, I think that we put like some sort of separation between, oh, we're here and content creators are just here and they can do it. Now, from what I've witnessed being around content creators for the last 3 to 4 years is that no, they're literally people just like us. Like, I am the same person as you, and if I have an idea, I just have to go and do it. So if you've been wanting to start that beauty channel, that camera channel, the finance channel, whatever it is, literally, you just have to have the mentality of you can do it, because that is exactly everybody that has been around me, what type of mentality that they have had. The third biggest takeaway that I've gotten from being around content creators is that it doesn't have to be perfect. And what do I mean by that? A lot of the times we want to say to ourselves, oh, I'm going to start a vlog, I'm going to start a podcast, I'm going to do this. And we try to roadblock ourselves by saying, we need the best gear, we need the best microphone. And I say that as somebody who loves YouTube and tech and all this stuff. And the reality is you don't need it, you just need to start. And I actually have a really good example of this. I was in a slump and I didn't want to post the video. I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel the motivation to do it. And I made a sign for the podcast, the Iced Coffee Hour. I went and I did this whole sign, and I just did not feel like filming the process. I was already in the woodshop working. I just felt demotivated to add an extra hour, 2 or 3, a day every time I was working. So what did I do? I tried to eliminate that and make it as easy as possible. I literally filmed that whole video on my phone while I have like $40,000 of camera equipment, upstairs. It's like, but the point was I needed to get onto it and start doing it. And if the biggest difference was me not doing it or me doing it with a phone, me getting started and doing with the phone was way easier than me trying to convince myself to set up all this camera equipment and stuff. So I just did it. Now, the fourth biggest takeaway is going to sound a little weird, but it's that you want to be the dumbest person in the room. If you feel like you are the dumbest person in the room, then you're in a great place. And I know that sounds so weird, but let me explain. I want to be in a room surrounded full of people that have so much knowledge, intuition, or like guidance into what I'm trying to do that I could just be like a sponge and absorb every little thing. And I think that that's one of the most underrated things that we could do as people. Being in a room full of people who are where you want to get to is probably going to make the biggest difference in your life. Go and be friends with them, help out whenever you can, and just absorb knowledge along the way. I promise that this is going to change how you view content creating or whatever you're trying to achieve in 2024 immensely. The fifth thing that I learned working in the content creation industry is imposter syndrome is real. I had a lot of experience working with Graham, and it kind of jump started my knowledge into the YouTube game. And after I left, and even during, I would constantly ask myself, am I good enough? Is this good enough? I think that the reason we feel like imposters sometimes is we're surrounded by people who are at similar levels to us that grow with us, right? And I think it's important to remember that you are learning. Like, you have one more year of experience this year than you did last year, so on and so forth. It's your job to make sure that you try to capture the knowledge as much as possible. But on those days where you really feel like an imposter, I guess the biggest takeaway that I can give you, or the biggest tip that to remind you, is to just take a step back from your work and then view it as you would like your first or second year that you're doing it, and think about how far that you've come. I get stuck on thumbnails all the time where I'm trying to edit something and something's not coming out how I'd like, but then I think back and I'm like, you know, it's okay to struggle with this. We're struggling with this because I'm trying to make it better than it was the last year. And my sixth takeaway is to stay humble and be kind. And I know this is kind of like, you know, self-explanatory, but there is a lot of ego in the space sometimes, and vanity numbers like subscribers and views can really get to people's heads, and I've seen them change people. However, I think that being kind can go a long way. Everybody started out as a new creator. If there's new people who are messaging you, asking you things, or like in person, you know, remember that you were there once and you would want help as well. The same goes for bigger creators. Staying kind and remaining humble and admitting that you don't know everything is going to go a long way. Just remember that you get to wake up and do what other people dream of and what you dreamed of at one point, and you are so lucky to be doing that. And reflecting back on that and looking back at 2023, I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to create for some other creators as well as myself. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you got some takeaways that are going to help you in your 2024 adventure. Comment down below what goals that you have. Hit the subscribe button and follow me on Instagram. And hopefully we can make 2024 a great year. I'm getting super cold and I can see my breath, so I'm going to head out.